our honorable dignitaries. They've just joined us inside the hall and now are requested to join us onto the stage. Once again, at the cost of being repetitive, I would request everyone inside the hall to kindly be seated with their electronic gadgets, essentially their mobile phones on silent mode. Thank you so much. Requesting the friends from media to kindly move to off center. Namaskar, good afternoon, Swagatam. Warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Roadshow on coal, gasification, surface and underground technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, India has set an ambitious target of achieving 100 MT of coal gasification by 2030. Keeping this in mind, this roadshow focuses to bring together stakeholders from chemical, petrochemical, oil and gas, steel, aluminium, power, coal, and allied sectors, as well as leading investors and financial institutions in realization of this set target. This event this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, aims to provide a platform for industry leaders, investors, and policymakers to exchange ideas, explore investment opportunities, and identify collaborative strategies to accelerate coal gasification projects across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon we are very honored to have with us respected Additional Secretary, Ministry of Coal, Government of India, Srimati Rupendra Brar. Warm welcome, ma'am. Namaskaram. We are also very honored to have with us Additional Secretary, Ministry of Coal and Government of India, Shri Sanoj Kumar Jha. Namaskar, sir. Warm welcome to you. At the dais, we've also been joined by past President FICCI and Managing Director, Indian Metals and Ferroalloys Limited, Shri Shubhakant Panda. Warm welcome to you, sir. And we're also honored to have with us on the dais Director, Ministry of Coal, Government of India, Shri Ajitesh Kumar. Director, Ministry of Coal, Government of India, Shri Birendra Kumar Thakur. And we've also been joined by Mentor, FICCI Coal and Power Committees, Shri Prabir Niyogi. Once again, a very warm welcome to all our honorable dignitaries on the dais. Our distinguished guests who are present in the audience, our special invitees, ladies and gentlemen and friends from the fraternity. This afternoon, we begin with our proceedings with the national anthem. And may I request everyone present in the hall to kindly rise for the Indian national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. At FICCI, we welcome our esteemed guests with FICCI Green Certificates. FICCI's Green Certificate is our way of expressing deep gratitude by pledging to plant a small grove of native trees in the honor of our distinguished guest. This initiative is a shared commitment to environmental stewardship and well-being of future generation. May I request Shri Shubhakant Pandaji to kindly present a green certificate to Honorable Additional Secretary Ma'am Shri Rupendra Brar and welcome her to this afternoon's event. Once again, requesting Shri Shubhakant Pantaji to now present a green certificate to respected Additional Secretary, Shri Sanoj Kumar Jha, and welcome him to this event. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we call this session to order, and we begin with opening remarks. And may I request the past President FICCI and Managing Director, Indian Metals and Ferroalloys Limited, Shri Shubhakant Panta, to kindly give the opening remarks.
Rupinder Brar ji, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Coal, Sanoj Jha ji, Additional Secretary, Senior Officials Ajitesh Kumar ji, Birendra Thakur ji, FICCI Mentor Prabir Niyogi ji, colleagues from industry, ladies and gentlemen, it's a delight to be here today for this important event, and I would like to welcome all of you to this roadshow on coal gasification, which will deliberate on opportunities in surface and underground technologies. FICCI is delighted to partner with the Ministry of Coal to work towards attracting investments in this transformative sector. And I do appreciate that all the support and help that we have received in putting this together. And I do hope that at the end of this event and others that we have had, we will make a meaningful difference to this sector. So let me start out by talking a little bit about India's rise as an economic power. As you all know, we are the world's fastest growing large economy, currently the fourth largest, on our way to climb up the ladder further. And all this is powered by a young demography, sustained reforms, and significant investments in physical and digital infrastructure. But if you look at it from the Honorable Prime Minister's perspective of his vision for a Vikasit Bharat, that I believe is predicated, amongst other things, on energy security, sustainability, and equitable access. And in that context, I think the implications are that energy requirements will grow significantly, driven by industrialization, urbanization, and rising aspirations. And coal will continue to play a significant role even as India makes a pivot towards renewable energy. It's not either or. I think both, all sources of energy. I mean, we have to find the optimum use in that manner. If I were to talk a little bit about the sectoral dynamics, coal output has nearly doubled and crossed the $1 billion ton mark in 2024-25, and that's indeed a significant milestone. And of course, this is driven by reforms as well as the various auction mines coming into production, which have added to this milestone. But fortunately or unfortunately, climate change compels us to adopt cleaner technologies. And in this context, National Coal Gasification Mission, which was launched with an ambitious target of 100 million tons by 2030, with a 8,500 crore incentive package, I think is a very important development. And several landmark projects have been initiated under this scheme, and I'm sure will make the presence felt. The notable developments in 2025 also include the launch of a 39,000 crore national CCUS, that is carbon capture, utilization and storage program, and there too various initiatives are being considered. If I were to narrow down a little more specifically into coal gasification, I think the importance arises from the fact that it reduces import dependency on natural gas, methanol, and ammonia. And in some cases, as I'm sure you will know, the import dependency is as high as 90%. And that is something we certainly need to work towards in order to achieve the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. By in terms of what we're looking to achieve out of this roadshow. It is not just a gathering where we talk about ideas and we talk about opportunities. It is actually a strong call to action. It is a call to action for industry, for government, for R&D institutions, that we must all work together and where needed, as I said, rope in global technology partners so that we can together work to accelerate deployment of coal, gasification, and CCUS technologies. And in this context, I would like to state that it is also important to co-locate these projects with industrial clusters so as to achieve maximum synergies. In conclusion, what I would like to say is that coal itself is evolving from conventional, or if I were to be a little more provocative, to say from a dirty fuel to one which is a feedstock of the future. And collective effort is what is necessary to unlock its potential and find that right balance to meet our growing energy needs as we develop rapidly and climb up the ladder in terms of the size and importance of our economy. Thank you once again to all of you for attending here today, and my gratitude to the senior officials from the Ministry of Coal for giving their time to this event and giving FICCI the opportunity, as I said, to coordinate this. And I'm sure that on the heels of a vibrant event in Mumbai, we will follow through with this event here today and clarify, any issues that you would like to raise and take this forward. Thank you.
For that wonderful opening remark and setting up the rhythm to the session. It's absolutely an honor as I now invite Honorable Additional Secretary, Ministry of Coal, Government of India, Srimati Rupinder Bararji, to kindly share her thoughts.
Namaskar and good afternoon to my dear colleague from the Ministry of Coal, Sinoj Kumar Jhaji, other colleagues from the ministry on the dais, the CMDs from the coal company, some of who are there, Shubhrakant Pandaji, Mr. Niyogi, a lot of familiar faces and a lot of not so familiar faces, to the media friends and everybody else who has made time out for this afternoon. I want to initially thank you all for being here. And I especially also want to thank all those people who came to Mumbai, and I can see them here also. So that clearly shows that there is a lot of interest already peaking in the area of gasification. But before we get there, Mr. Panda set the context really well. But I'd also like to just add a couple of things to that, in the sense that I think if we look at ourselves as a country today, and specifically in vis-a-vis coal, it was a great year last year when India for the first time got 1 billion tons of coal. And if you look at just about a decade back, you were looking at a scenario of almost half the level of production. And it goes to the credit of everybody who's been associated with the coal industry, whether as producers, whether as related line ministries, whether as state governments. Everybody has come together to fulfill a very important event for the country. And why is it so crucial as we go ahead, both in terms of industrialization as well as urbanization, is that even today, 72% of the power of the country, right now we are sitting in an air conditioned environment, I'm speaking through a microphone, our phones are getting charged, small things also, is all happening because of power. And what is really powering power is coal. And we also know that in India, one of the most critical sources of energy is coal. Therefore, for us as a country, as a nation, to come together and put our heads and efforts to make sure that coal doesn't just remain an important powering engine for power per se, but also for various other areas of work, is not only critical but is of paramount importance, because we need to reduce the energy dependence that we still have. About I would say last year we imported about 240 million tons. We need to bring it down. But then that's a very modest target to have. We also have targets of exporting things. We don't just have to look at stopping imports, but we also need to export. And more importantly, today we stand as the fourth largest economy, very rapidly moving to be a third largest economy. We have the potential, the demographic dividend that this country has is known to everybody. But to make sure that the various elements come together, to make sure that that demographic dividend, of which we can create a leveraging potential. How to really do that is an important aspect. And where do we all fit in with coal here is an exciting space which we wanted to bring to all of you. Mumbai was very good. We had tremendous response from all of you. And a lot of questions came, a lot of suggestions have come after that. In today's sessions, again, we're going to lay out specifically the gasification aspect. You've all possibly read a little bit about it, some of you are more aware about it. But if you're not, then you're welcome to be a part of our discussions. We continue to have a lot of meetings. We have crafted a framework that in the times to come, if you are going to take a block for the purpose of gasification, how is that going to play out? So one of the presentations is going to be around that. The other, and that's an important concern for everybody, is that where are the technologies? Whether we talk of surface, whether we talk of underground, and specifically with respect to underground, there are still a lot of unanswered questions. There have been pilots around the world. So, but in India, how is the framework really going to work? Are there too many questions still, or have those questions been answered by various pilots that have been run around the world? So those kind of areas of work are in some ways work in progress. We've got a lot of feedback, as I said, from all of you. We've gone back, done more homework on the basis of questions that were asked in Mumbai. They've been asked away from the platform also. It's given us a lot of work to do. We've been working very closely with the Director General of Hydrocarbons, with the Central Groundwater Authority, with the Ministry of Environment and Forest, because needless to say, when you're bringing in any technology which is hitherto untested, and particularly if it has not played out at a commercial level in a major way, you do need to be more robust in your framework, in designing the framework, and then making sure that the implementation part also is done with equal integrity. And that's going to be one of the presentations to show you as to if you were to move into the area of surface or underground, how would you be able to create those enablers? So those are the things that we would be rolling out. But at the end of the session, I'm going to request all of you to, for active listening and then actively participating in your questions. We've requested Fiki that after the end of today's session, out of the people in Mumbai and today, for all of you who think you're going to be interested, even remotely, please be in touch with us. We will be holding a workshop again. We would be more than happy to host a workshop where we need feedback from you, because we need to make sure that the framework which we design has all the elements that are required for regulation, but at the same time, it should not become prohibitive to actually working it out. It has to be a framework which can be implemented. It has to be a framework which works for the good of the country in all senses. So that's where we will be looking for a lot of feedback, and we will be conducting more workshops as we go ahead. And if there are any apprehensions, there will be Q&A after the session today, and we encourage questions. I'm not saying that necessarily we may have an answer to every question, but we'll be very happy to take your questions. Where we don't have the answers, we are very happy to go back and work on it and read more, understand more, meet experts to make sure that there is a framework which is functional and is made available for all of you. I just want to end on one small note here that I think about a year or so back, the CMDs will bail me out on that. One of the CMDs who just retired made a mention. We were having a brainstorming session. I think it was in Gangtok when Mishra ji said coal to pizza. And we all were like, coal to pizza? How does that even work out? I mean, coal, can we think remotely of coal, except that it is wood fired, so you look at coal there, but that's about it. But I'm happy to share, and that today, if you will have a question on coal to a t-shirt, there will be somebody here who can tell us about it. So it's really interesting. And for all you know, in the next 6-8 months, 1 year, we might be wearing t-shirts or clothes, and you look at the tag and say, oh, produced from coal. So that's the kind of potential, dear friends, when it comes to byproducts, when it comes to what all can coal gasification lead to in terms of chemicals. If I'll do all the talking, then Sanoj won't have anything to say. So I'm going to end on that. But have a rewarding session, and look forward to a lot of good conversation today afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for guiding us with your valuable inputs. Thank you once again. May I now invite respected Additional Secretary, Ministry of Coal, Government of India, Shri Sanoj Kumar Jha, to kindly guide us with his words.
Good afternoon, everyone. Madam Rupinder Barar, my colleagues from Ministry of Coal, officers of FICCI, आवाज नहीं आ रही है? CMDs from coal companies, industry representatives, other officials from ministry and media. Thank you very much for being here. The context has been set. Mr. Panda has given the context. Madam Brar has given a very, very clear picture of what we look forward to in terms of gasification. I'll not get into that detail. I'll just take a few minutes to speak about what we look forward to, what we, should strive for. Let's take the case of China. Mr. Panda talked about China gasifying about 340 million tons of coal every year. This is what the official statistics we know. But there is some talk, there is some information that they are even beyond 750 million tons a year. We don't know. So that is for a purpose. In fact, say even in our case, we say if we go back in time, we had about 600, 700 million tons, and we were falling short. We were in a situation of shortage, crisis. We used to import coal. Now, I think we have come to a time where coal is there for us. Coal, I mean, we can, some are from PSUs, the CMDs are here. What we understand going forward, we would have enough coal for our domestic consumption, and the target that we have set for 2030 to gasify about 100 million tons, we would be able to achieve that. But can we achieve what China has done? Maybe not immediately. It may take a bit of time, maybe even a decade, more than a decade. But we should be on course to that. Even at the highest level in the government, I really mean the highest level, the emphasis is very clear. We have to gasify coal, and we have to devise means how to go about it. The ministry had come up with a small scheme about 1.5 years ago. We had done we have approved a few projects, and we expect that, going forward, we would have a much bigger scheme. If you see the quantum of imports that we make, and that can be substituted, it's roughly 2.5 lakh crores every year. So it comes to about $25 billion that we import, be it in chemicals, be it in gas, be it in any other field. We can substitute that. And yes, the challenges are technology, challenges are availability of maybe our EPC contractors. But going forward, what we see, the interest that has been shown in some of the public sector, JV of Coal India and BHEL, JV of Coal India and GAIL, we have found that a lot of foreign companies, they are showing interest. They see the potential. Maybe we should use that potential. We should use that notion that we can do it. And I'm very sure, maybe if not going to the level of China in immediate future, but we can be very, very near. We don't need to go where they are, but what we can do is that we can substitute a lot of coal, that lot of import that we do through substitution, and that is coal gasification is one of the very, very important ways that we can do it. As regards the ministry, a lot of things have been done, and the work is in progress. Maybe in coming years, coming days, we would have several incentives, several facilities which would get extended. We talked about CCUS, about 39,000 crores of project is there. Maybe a bigger project would, for gasification, may come from Ministry of Coal. So what I want to emphasize is that a time has come when we should devote a lot of our energy in gasification, and technology is available. The government support is there. So the private sector just needs to come forward, let the government know, let us know what we need to do, what support they require. We have been holding such consultations. Madam Barat talked about it having been done in Mumbai. We are doing it here today. We would be doing something in the coming days, and discussions at all levels in government, including Niti Aayog, is taking place, and we all look forward to having your participation in a big way. Government can only create that space, but that workspace, but it has to be carried forward by the private sector. And the limited number of interactions that I have had, I have found that there is a lot of interest in that, and we can take it forward. Look forward to working with you in this domain, and hopefully this gasification would take a big leap in the coming years. Thank you very much for all the support, and we'll look forward to more in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for those very kind and inspiring words. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to a presentation on surface, coal gasification and bid process. And to do the same, may I request Vice President SBI Capital Markets Limited, Shri Shubham Goel, to kindly join us onto the podium and share his presentation.
Thank you. Respected dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and my dear friends. So I'll be covering a very brief presentation on coal gasification from the surface coal gasification perspective. As ma'am in her opening remarks already mentioned that for coal gasification, you need coal, and we have created multiple windows wherein you can get coal from. One of the way is coal mine, which we typically auction through a commercial coal mine auction process, and another window is you can get coal linkage from Coal India Limited. For that also we have created a separate window. So I will be covering the same in the brief. How can you get the coal for the purpose of coal gasification, and then if you are going for coal gasification, what are the benefits or what are the incentives which we are having and which we are providing in the scheme. So the first one I'll cover is the coal. You can get a coal mine from a commercial coal mine auction process, and you can own a coal mine. You can take out coal from there and you can use it for coal gasification. So these are the key features of the auction process for getting a coal mine. The number one and the first and the foremost is that there is no restriction on the end use or utilization of coal. That is, you can use coal for your own purpose, you can for captive purpose, or you can sell the coal, you can use it for coal gasification or export. Whatever you want to do, you can do it for that. Second is the bid parameter is a percentage revenue share. You have to bid for a percentage revenue share, and the bidding process will begin at a base price, which we call it a reserve price, and over and above the reserve price you have to bid. I'll just cover it in brief in the subsequent slide. There is no technical or financial eligibility criteria, so that there are minimum entry barriers. So anyone who want to have a coal mine can come and submit its interest. The technical eligibility criteria is only that you have to be a company and you have to comply with certain terms and conditions of the tender document. There is no financial eligibility criteria. The payment structure is also linked to National Coal Index. It means there is a transparent pricing mechanism which has been developed by Ministry of Coal, which is being published on a month-on-month basis on the website of Ministry of Coal, and the pricing of coal is linked to that transparent pricing mechanism, which we call the National Coal Index. There is also flexibility in coal production schedule. That is, it's not mandatory that you produce 100% of the coal in the very first year. There is a flexibility that you can produce up to 65% and without any penal provisions. And this one, which specifically caters to coal gasification, there are incentives for early coal production and also for utilization of coal in coal gasification. So if you use coal for coal gasification, then you get 50% rebate in the revenue share at which you have become successful. So suppose if you become successful at 10% or 20%, straight away 50% rebate you will get, and you will have to pay to the state government only balance 50% in case you use coal for coal gasification. So this is an incentive which we have given to promote coal gasification in the country. There is also provision for change in control and security creation. Just for the bidders to avail the financing from the banks, we have provided the provisions for change in control and security creation. So you can mortgage your coal mine and the related infrastructure, and you can avail the financing from the bank. So that provision is already provided in those tender document. there is also permission to allow relinquishment of part of the partially explored mine. So in case of a partially explored mine, basically the mine which is not fully explored, and in case you find that it is not technically feasible to operate a mine, there is also a provision to partially relinquish that mine without any penalty. Then reduce upfront amount and bid security. So these amounts of upfront and bid security have been reduced substantially from the earlier regime. And there is also, upon the request of the bidders, the first revision in the PBG has been done upon the grant of mine opening permission. So earlier there was annual revision in the performance security which we had to give. Now the performance security has been kept constant till the achievement of the mine opening permission. Also, there is a 50% rebate in the performance security in case you go for underground coal mining or underground gasification. So there is 50% rebate in that. Also, there is also a waiver of the upfront amount just to promote the underground mining. In case you go for underground mining, there is a full waiver of the upfront amount. You don't have to give the upfront amount. And also the revenue share, the reserve price, or you can say the floor price, begins at 2%, which is otherwise kept at 4%. So this is just a brief of the auction process, how you will get the coal mine. So we conduct auction on the MSTC platform. It's a two-stage auction process comprising of technical bid and financial bid. In the technical bid, as I already mentioned, there is no specific technical eligibility criteria. Only this, that you have to have a company, and there are certain conditions of FDI policy which you have to comply with. As part of the financial bid, you have to submit the initial offer and the final offer. The initial offer is the minimum price which you will quote for a particular mine in case you want to buy a mine. So the floor price is kept at 4%. The initial offer you have to submit over and above 4%. This initial offer is kept, encrypted. And then once you get the bids, submit the bid, we evaluate the technical bid, and the initial offers which you have submitted will be open only for those players who have been declared technically qualified. And after that opening of the initial offers, there would be some ranking and elimination criteria. And after that, the qualified bidders will be declared. And once the qualified bidders are declared, then the highest IPO will become the floor price of the e-auction process, and the forward auction will begin from that highest initial floor price which have been given by any of the bidder, and from there the forward auction will carry on. And this forward auction will be happening in the multiples of 0.5% till the time the revenue premium reaches 10%, and it will be in the multiple of 0.25% once the revenue share reaches above 10%. There's also a criteria that one bidder can put only one bid in a particular coal mine, and no affiliate of the bidder can submit the bid in a particular coal mine. These are some of the basic eligibility criteria. As I already mentioned, that the only eligibility criteria is that you have to have a company or a JV of the company or a government company. In case you are a private allottee, you have to comply with certain provisions, like you have to pay for the additional levy which you have already been prescribed, and you have to comply with FDI policy, that is Press Note 3 and Press Note 4. These are some of the efficiency parameters, that in case you are having a partially explored mine, then you are given 66 months to complete and to start the coal mine and start the production. In case you are having a fully explored mine, the total time which we are providing is 51 months. The additional 15 months which we are providing is for the partially explored mine to carry out the exploration. Now, coming on to the coal gasification, which is the subject of today, you already know there is a vision of 100 million ton of coal gasification by 2030, and coal gasification is typically a process by which we convert coal into syngas. And this syngas can be used for various byproducts, including methanol, ammonia, urea, and other products. And most of these products, as you all know, is currently being imported. So this is very critical for the country, that what is the better use for diversification of coal is coal gasification. And you will have a ready market for the country, in the country itself. So what are the initiatives that we have taken to promote coal gasification in the country? The first and foremost, in 2020, when we launched the commercial coal mine auction, I already mentioned that we are giving a 50% rebate. It was earlier 20%, which we enhanced to 50% rebate in the revenue share in case you bid for a coal mine. Then in 2021, we set up a national coal gasification mission, which was to gasify 100 million ton of coal by 2030. And also steering committee was formed under Niti Aayog. Then in 2022, this incentive of 20% was enhanced to 50%, which is now currently having 50% rebate in the revenue share in case of commercial coal mine auction. And the major boost came in 2024, wherein this policy was approved for promoting coal gasification, the financial incentive scheme of 8,500 crores, which was approved in January 2024, under which we have already shortlisted 7 projects for giving incentives to various products. And also, this reform was came that CBA land can also be provided on long-term lease basis for coal gasification. Also, there were certain a special window was created under NRS linkage auction policy, wherein you can get coal linkage from Coal India Limited specific for coal gasification at the notified price of regulated sector. Basically, the reserve price was capped at notified price for regulated sector. And also to promote transfer of technology and getting EPC contracts from land border sharing countries, waiver were also given to certain companies to on a case to case basis for TOT transfer from registration into DPIIT. And also a committee for DME blending has been set up in 2024. And 2025 we have executed agreements. Basically, once we launched this financial incentive scheme of 8,500 crores, almost 6,000 crores we have already an earmarked to 7 projects. And those with those 7 projects, we have executed the agreements in 2025. And phase 1 of UCG project, if you say CASA, which is underground coal gasification, which we'll be covering in the subsequent presentation, which has also seen a significant progress, and the pilot phase has been completed. So these are few initiatives which has been taken by ministry in the coal gasification space. Now, coming on to the surface coal gasification, before starting with surface coal gasification, I would just request if we can play a short video on the surface coal gasification, just to give an idea what actually is surface coal gasification. Can we have the AVs, please?
Coal gasification is the process of converting coal into a clean and versatile fuel called syngas. The process takes place inside a vessel known as a gasifier. In the gasifier, coal is exposed to high heat and pressure. Carefully controlled amounts of oxygen are released, allowing a portion of the coal to burn. This step is called partial oxidation. The heat and pressure break down the molecular structure of the coal, causing a chemical reaction that produces syngas. During the process, ash and other byproducts are trapped at the bottom of the gasifier and removed as slag or char. The syngas that comes out can then be used to produce fertilizers, methanol, steel, power, and many other essential products.
Yes, thank you. Can we go back to the presentation, please? So coming on to the surface coal gasification, the process which has been already explained in the video. Next slide. So in this surface coal gasification, which I talked about, the financial incentive scheme which was approved in 2024, about 8,500 crores, was categorized into 3 categories. The first category, for category 1, for the PSUs and the JV of the PSUs, wherein we had allocated total 4,050 crores. And the incentive per project was 1,350 crores or 15% of the capex, whichever is lower. For category 2, which was for private as well as government sector, the total outlay was 3,850 crores. Per project is worth 1,000 crores or 15% of capex, whichever is lower. And category 3, it was 600 crores, which is 100 crores or 15% of the capex, whichever is lower per project. And list of eligible projects, which I have already discussed earlier, the details have been provided down. Like these were the eligible products which were which were eligible to get the financial incentive under this scheme, including SNG, methanol, ethanol, and other products. Now the milestones which we have achieved in the financial incentive scheme, that I have already told, that around 6,000 crores we have already earmarked to 7 projects, and these are the list of the 7 projects wherein substantial progress has also been made. First is the BCGCL, Bharat Coal Gasification Chemicals Limited. It's a JV of CIL and BHEL. The end product is ammonium nitrate. The plant capacity is 0.66 million tons. So total incentive which we have earmarked to this project is 1,350 crores. And the proposed year of commencement is FY30. Similarly, Coal Gas India Limited, it's a JV of CIL and GAIL, which is producing SNG as an end product. total plant capacity is 1.83 MMSCMD. And the earmarked incentive is also 1350. The next one is Coal India Limited, which is also producing SNG. The earmarked incentive is 1350. Then coming on to category 2, which is for the private players, basically, we have shortlisted 3 players, 3 projects. First one is JSPL, which is producing DRI, coal to DRI project. The total plant capacity is 2 million tons, and the incentive earmarked is 569. This project is expected to be commenced in 2027. Second is Greta Energy. Again, the coal to DRI project, 414 crores incentive has been earmarked. And the last one is New Era Clean Tech Solutions Limited. It is coal to ammonium nitrate and hydrogen. The total earmarked incentive is 1,000 crores. And the proposed year of commencement is again FY30. In category 3, which was a demonstration and small scale projects, we have shortlisted 1 project, and this was coal to ethanol. And the total incentive earmarked is 100 crores, and the proposed year of commencement is FY29. Now, we are also, just to give you a brief, after this 6,000 crores which we have earmarked, we are left with around 2,300, 2,400 crores of incentives, for which we are very shortly coming out with another round of RFP, probably in this month or coming month. And we would require, and we would urge all the participants to kindly participate and take advantage of the coal gasification mission, which have already been announced, and it's a high priority area. So second round of financial incentive scheme, which I've already mentioned, is coming soon. In case you want to get a coal mine for coal gasification projects, we are already on with the 13th round of auction, which is ongoing. And you can visit the website of MSTC, or you can go to the website of Ministry of Coal. From there, you can get the link. And which was launched in August 21. And the last date for submission of bid is October 24. So still there is the time, and you can participate. You can, in case you have any queries, you can reach out to Ministry of Coal, and this is one of the option wherein you can get coal mine for coal gasification. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for that very informative presentation. May I now request Director, Ministry of Coal, Government of India, Shri Ajitesh Kumar, to kindly share his presentation on underground coal gasification.
Thank you. Respected Additional Secretary and Nominated Authority, Rupinder Brar Madam, Additional Secretary, Sri Sanoj Kumar Jha Ji, Sri Shubhrakant Panda Ji, Past President FICCI, and Mr. Praveer Niyogi, Mentor of FICCI, CMDs and senior officials from coal PSUs, representative from industries, my colleagues from Ministry of Coal, officials from FICCI, from SBI CAP, and my dear friends. A very good afternoon to all of you. Before my presentation, I just want to convey my sincere gratitude to all the representatives from the industries for coming in such a large number for this roadshow. Yeah. So basically, in my presentation, I am going to cover these basic agendas. Underground coal gasification process. What are the various benefits of underground coal gasification? Regarding the enablers for underground coal gasification, which are going to be proposed in the bid document. The methodology for operationalization of underground coal gasification projects. The provisions related to flexibility which are going to be proposed in the document, and also the action which ministry has already taken or are being taken at the level of ministry. But before going to the presentation, I would like to request the audio-visual team to play a small video on this. Can you play the video?
The coal remains deep underground. Syngas can be easily converted into liquid fuels, synthetic natural gas, and for power generation. UCG enables deep coals that are not suitable for conventional mining to be converted into valuable products. Simply put, UCG works like this. A vertical production well is drilled into the coal seam, which can be located more than 300 meters and up to 2 kilometers below the surface. Once the well has been drilled, steel casing and special high-temperature cement are installed from surface to the coal seam to ensure isolation from any groundwater aquifers. The injection well is then drilled horizontally in the coal seam to intersect the production well. The well is drilled along the bottom of the coal seam in order to maximize the amount of coal converted into gas. A coiled tubing unit is rigged up over the injection well in preparation for startup of the gasifier. The injection well is connected to surface facilities and the oxidant supply equipment. The UCG surface facilities are of modular design. To start the UCG process, an ignition tool is connected to the coil tubing and inserted into the injection well. The ignition tool then travels through the injection well and is positioned ready for ignition. Heat generated from the ignition tool and the oxygen pumped from the surface start the coal gasification process. The startup sequence only takes a couple of hours. Sustained gas production is achieved by pumping large quantities of oxygen into the well. The gasification process involves the carbon from the coal reacting with steam to form carbon monoxide and hydrogen. The UCG site is chosen very carefully in order to ensure that the high temperature zone is contained within the coal seam. The byproducts of the UCG process remain behind within the coal seam as ash. The syngas, which contains a high percentage of carbon monoxide, hydrogen and methane, flows from the gasification chamber through the horizontal connection in the coal seam and up the production well. Syngas is piped to a nearby plant for conversion into liquid fuels such as diesel and jet fuel, synthetic natural gas, chemicals or power production. The process is repeated along the length of the injection well, converting all the coal in the vicinity of the well into syngas. In commercial operations, multiple gasifiers are operated simultaneously to produce the required syngas and produce very large quantities of energy from a small footprint. There are many benefits to UCG, including access to deep stranded coal without the need for mining, higher energy intensity than other processes, minimal surface disturbance, no people underground. After UCG operations have ceased, the site is then decommissioned in a controlled manner and returned.
Can you start the presentation again? It's not working, I think. Yeah, so as you have seen in the video, underground coal gasification is basically the in situ conversion of coal into the syngas. So in this, the oxidants, which may be air, oxygen or the steam, that is being injected underground, and in the presence of these oxidants, the partial combustion of coal takes place and that coal is converted into the syngas. So main constituents of syngas are hydrogen, carbon monoxide, CH4 and CO2. So in this, hydrogen is a valuable fuel and it is the most important product in the hydrogen economy. Carbon monoxide is also there and methane, which is the major component of a natural gas. In addition to that, as a byproduct, carbon dioxide is also produced, and that carbon dioxide can be captured in the cavity, which are being produced in the process of underground coal gasification. So underground coal gasification is having numbers of benefits. The major benefit is that the surface area required for underground coal gasification is very minimal in comparison to conventional mining. As like conventional mining, open pit mining is not required, and the place required for the putting the overburden and also the coal is not required. So after acquiring a small patch, a large area may be gasified using the horizontal drilling. The requirement of coal in case of underground coal gasification is also very less, and whatever the coal is being used for underground coal gasification, that can be recycled and use of water can be reduced. Carbon dioxide, which is being produced in underground coal gasification, that can be used and that can be stored underground in the cavity formed in the process of underground coal gasification. The products which are being produced from underground coal gasification are basically the methanol, DME, SNG, ammonia, hydrogen, and other fuels, which are mostly being imported as of now in the country. The key enablers in the underground coal gasification are that there will be no restriction on the usage of coal. The mine can be used for underground coal gasification or for the purpose of conventional mining, and that coal can be utilized as the way you want. As ministry is proposing now, the underground coal gasification project will be developed in two phases. Phase 1 will be the exploration and pre-development phase, that is going to take 48 months time, and the phase 2 will be the development and commercial operation phase of 54 months. I will come in the detail on these two things in the subsequent slide. The royalty and revenue share in case of underground coal gasification will be payable on the quantity of coal which is being consumed or converted in the syngas. And the norms for this has already been prepared by ministry in consultation with SIMPER. Ministry has already done the work regarding the efficiency parameter which are required to facilitate the development and operationalization of underground coal gasification projects. This is the most important slide as it gives the idea regarding the methodology which is going to used for underground coal gasification. This is going to be done in the two phases. At the top, you can see the phase 1, and at the bottom, the phase 2. The phase 1 will start immediately after the allocation of the coal mine. There will be timeline for exploration plan, preparation of exploration plan of 3 months. That will be followed by the preparation of geological report and pre-feasibility report. The timeline given for preparation of geological report and PFR will be 15 months for fully explored mine and 24 months for partially explored mine. So total 2 years period is there for this part. After this part, the bidder has the option to exit from the contract, and ministry also have the option to terminate in case the results after the preparation of GR are not as per the requirement. After preparation of pre-feasibility report, the next phase will bring the phase in which the pilot will be done, and a feasibility report will be prepared based on the various hydrological studies and other studies during the pilot phase. So this phase will also have 24 months. After this phase also, bidder have the option to exit, and ministry has the option to terminate in case the result of pilot are not as per the satisfaction. After that, the process which is there in case of conventional mining, same process is going to be adopted. The next milestone will be the mining plan, milestone 3, and 9 months time will be given for preparation of mine plan. Then milestone 4 will have 18 months time, that is for environmental clearance and forest clearance and wildlife clearance. The next milestone, milestone 5, will have the time of 21 months, and that has mining lease, land acquisition. After that, the last milestone is milestone 6, That is mine opening permission, and the timeline for this is 6 months. So the phase 1 will be in addition to the conventional mining. So total timeline for development of UCG project will be 48 months for phase 1 and 54 months for phase 2. So total 102 months time will be provided. Ministry is proposing to have the flexibility provisions also in the tender document as UCG in a very primary phase. So after the submission of pre-feasibility report, the 4 options will be provided to the bidder. The first option will be to terminate the agreement and exit the coal mine after approval of nominated authority. To proceed with the next phase, that is for feasibility study phase, after giving a written nomination to nominated authority. Ministry is also giving an option that you can bypass the pilot phase and directly enter to the operational to the development and operationalization phase, but after approval of nominated authority. The fourth option will be that in case the result of pilot etc. are not up to the mark, then bidder can propose to do the conventional mining and extract the coal from the mine. Similar provisions will be provided after the submission of feasibility report, that agreement may be terminated and bidder may exit the coal mine after approval of nominated authority. Bidder can choose to proceed to the phase 2, that is development and operationalization of the coal mine, after giving a written intimation to nominated authority, or the bidder may choose to undertake the conventional mining, that is for extraction of coal, after getting the approval of nominated authority. Ministry has already done a lot of work on this. So basically, some work has been completed and some work is going on. So stakeholder consultation has been done with MOFCC, DGMS, Central Ground Board regarding the implication of underground coal gasification and process, etc. That has been discussed. In addition to that, the relevant authorities which are going to be involved in giving the clearances, those authorities has also been taken on board, and they have been requested to prepare the prerequisite guidelines and to facilitate the EG approval for the underground coal gasification. One committee has been constituted in the ministry to prepare the mine plan guideline and also to have the specific provision which are required for development of a coal mine for UCG. Numbers of stakeholder consultation has been done to gather the input and create the awareness regarding the UCG. On September 12 also, one roadshow was conducted in Mumbai, and the next round may come with the provision of underground coal gasification. So with this, I conclude my presentation, but I would like to request all the representatives from industries to do your research, to do your finances, because UCG has a potential to be a very big sector in the future, and this could be a good business opportunity for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that very insightful presentation. Thank you once again. May I now request Director, Ministry of Coal, Government of India, Shri Virendra Kumar Thakurji, to kindly make the presentation on underground coal gasification process. May I request you, sir, to kindly join us.
Thank you. Good afternoon and namaskar. Respected Rupinder Brar Madam, Additional Secretary and Nominated Authority, Sri Sanoj Kumar Jha, Additional Secretary, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, CMDs of the coal companies, colleague and media persons. So, today's presentation on underground coal gasification, seam to syngas. It is a purely technical presentation. Next. Somebody please help me. Okay. So, no, I'm doing it from here. Please stop there. Okay, so far as coal and lignite resource in India is concerned, total coal resource is about 389 billion ton, coal and lignite about 47 billion ton. So the about 43% of the deep-seated coal that is located at a depth of more than 300 meter, and from underground coal gasification as well as from the surface coal gasification. The products are gaseous fuels that has been already mentioned, that synthetic natural gases, DRI, etc., liquid fuel, methanol, ethanol, synthetic diesel, SAF, chemicals. A series of chemicals can be prepared from it, power generation. And yesterday we had seen and had a discussion with one of the manufacturer that polyester cloth. Yes, please, you away from the presentation side. Yeah, cameraman, please. So the polyester cloth from syngas. So the byproducts which we are getting, that is CO or CO2, polyester cloth can be prepared. So this is a new area. I think first time this is being discussed here, that even the cloth can be prepared with this byproduct of the syngas. Okay, so far as conversion factor is concerned, 1 ton lignite or with some variation of the coal, 1 ton with 41% moisture and 3004 about 3400 calorific value coal lignite can produce syngas of about 11.6 MMBTU, and hydrogen of 75 kg, ammonia 0.34 ton, methanol about 0.38 ton, acetic acid 50.53 ton, and electricity about 1.67 megawatt hour. So this can be done with 1 ton of the coal. So far as underground coal gasification process is concerned, the flow is well creation. It is just a quite simple process. 2 wells are drilled and it is connected with the injection and production well and drilled with that target seams. Their gasifier is made. The oxidants are subsequently oxidants are injected, that is air, steam, or pure air or oxygen. In situ gasification is the controlled combustion of the coal within the chamber, and syngas extraction subsequently is done at the surface. So the diagrammatic view is that 2 wells and the gasification process within the coal seam. The chemical process that takes place beneath the earth is oxidation zone, where carbon and this CO formation takes place. Reduction zone, there CO2, CO as well as methane is formed, and pyrolysis zone where some char and other metallic byproducts are generated. In the case of operating conditions, the temperature ranges are about 800 degrees centigrade to 1200 degrees centigrade, and coal rank that also influences the byproduct syngas. Coal rank means if we use lignite, we have a different combination of syngas. If we use high grade coal like G1 to G5, a different grade of quantity and grade of syngas, and for lower grade coal we have a different percentage of syngas with constituent of CO and S2. So that depending upon the type of coal, we can design the byproducts, use of the products in the downstream side. The pressure typically, particularly in the foreign countries, they work at a more than 1,000 meter depth. So the 20 to 70 bar pressure that is kept in the chamber. But in case of Indian conditions, we can have 4 to around 20 to 30 bar pressure that we can keep there. So depth influence. As we go down, the process is safer. So if we go for more than 300 meter depth, as we have studied number of pilot projects and etc., and we came with a conclusion that it is safer to start coal gasification process at a depth more than 300 meter. The oxidants used are air, steam, oxygen, and carbon dioxide itself. Whatever the byproducts like CO2 is produced, that can be reused in syngas preparation process. It can be sent to the underground itself, and for better yield of CO and hydrogen. So CO2 is further converted into CO and other components. Next. So underground coal gasification has a very vital role, that selection of the site. That is depth and confinement. Depth must be more than 300 meter, and confinement means there should be competent overlying strata, underlying strata, so that during the gasification process, there should not be any breakage of overlying roof, so that contaminants could enter in the upward or downward side. So this is the study that is being done, and almost around 36 tests are done, that has been done in the CASTA project, particularly in the pre-pilot studies. Aquifer protection. So this is another vital considerations for taking up UCG projects, that we should have aquifer away from our gasifier present in the underground, so that the contamination of the water or aquifer could be avoided. Seam geometry and structures. That area should be typically free from fault and other geological disturbances. Fault, particularly, it should be away from the fault, so that the contaminants which is produced could not migrate through the fault to the surface or other aquifer present in the surrounding part. Pressure and operations leakage. So it is also vital considerations for taking the UCG projects, that what could be the pressure. See, typically it is kept less than the hydrostatic pressure, so that the contaminants produced in the gasifier could not migrate into the surrounding strata. So this is the basic concept behind the design of aquifer and pressure monitoring. So it is the general question in the mind of everybody, that what are the risk in the UCG, that is groundwater contamination, subsidence, fire and explosion, and residuals. So the key hazards are groundwater contamination. As it has been mentioned earlier, that we can keep our gasifier or design gasifier away from the aquifers. That will protect our groundwater, and mitigative measure is when the gasifier completes its life, burning process completes, then monitoring wells are drilled around the gasifier. It continuously monitors the water conditions, quality of water, etc. Once after the completion of that gasifier, the flushing of the cavities is done. So in case there is some contamination left in that, inertization is done. Whatever the contaminants are there, that is flushed out, it is brought at the surface, and it is purified and disposed properly as per the statute available. Regarding the subsidence, it again depends on the size of the gasifier we are going to design. So the subsidence means like underground mining, we design the size of panel where there is no subsidence. In this case also, the designs the size of the gasifier in such a way that after the combustion, there should not be any subsidence noticed at the surface. Moreover, the 300 meter depth, working at a depth of 300 meter, that depth, conventionally also we don't experience subsidence at the surface. So subsidence measures that can be managed with the design of the gasifier. Next hazard is fire and explosion. So far as fire is concerned, once you eliminate or stop the supply of oxygen, fire will smother, it will stop. So stopping the supply of oxygen will reduce the chance of propagation of fire around the gasifier and condensate or contaminants. This is whatever the metals that is formed in the gasifier, they at 1200 degrees centigrade, they are found in the gaseous form that comes at the surface. It is captured and purified at the surface. Whatever the solid metal remains with the ash that remains in the underground, that is flushed, steamed, and water flushing is also done there. Inertization is done. In this way, this gasifier is made safe. So far as some successful projects are concerned, UCG has been tried since 1950 to till date. And the Uzbekistan is one where this project is running since 1965 to date. As such, there is no issue that has been observed in Uzbekistan. So this is the success story of the gasification plant. In Canada also, one plant, commercial scale plant, is under commissioning stage. Shortly, by the end of this year, it will be running. Also here, I would like to state one thing, that people talk about about Chinchilla, what happened to Chinchilla. We say Chinchilla was a successful project. How? Since 1999 to 2013, it worked. 1999 to 2006, there was no issue. Subsequently, the technology was changed, company was changed, and they applied high pressure in the chamber. As a result of this, due to high temperature and high pressure, overlying strata got broken, and the contaminant that entered into the aquifer. And as a result, and this did not disclose anything to the government. When after in 2013, it came to the notice of government, they imposed a huge ban. That company was fined and they became bankrupt. As a result of this, as such, there was no issue in the process problem, but operational issue was there. If proper pressure was suppose it was maintained proper pressure, it would not have been any issues with the water contamination. Moreover, at Chinchilla, the aquifer was at a depth, this was done at a shallow depth, say around 130 to 40 meter depth, with their aquifer was there. And with the outcome of this project, that's why we are thinking that our project which we are going to plan should be at a depth of more than 300 meter. Apart from that, there are a number of successful pilot projects that have been done so far. So based on this, right now, a committee has been interministerial committee has been constituted to frame guidelines for the UCG, involving the officials from MOC, DGH, DGMS, director from Central Groundwater Board, director from CMPDI, ex-director CMPDI, and representative from the coal controller organizations. Naturally, our focus, this will be the first case in our country when we will be entering into the commercial UCG process. So the most focus will be on the geology of the site, technology, scientific studies, association with the expert agencies, and after the mining, the mine closure and repurposing should be proper. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for bringing in such vital points forward. Thank you once again. Now, with the permission of our honorable dignitaries, can we open the forum for interactive session? Ladies and gentlemen, the session is open for an interactive session. It is going to be a Q&A. May I request you to kindly put up your hands and make use of the microphones. Keep your questions short. Please identify yourself and also let us know who the question is directed towards.
I think I have microphone.
I'm sorry.
I'm Suresh Thavani from ICPPL. You know what we observe that the underground coal gasification, there are only pilot projects, and probably we don't know whether the projects are working or even the pilot projects have anything close to the ash or the coal characteristics that we have in country. So these projects, as it was presented just now, have the problem of safety, or we have to be very mindful of safety. We know the technology, which
Can
is
you
the
please
coal
speak into the mic?
Yeah, I am speaking in the mic. So coal characteristics. What I have read also is that the yield is very low and the calorific value of gas is also low. If you look at the end use point of view, so we have one plant already operating in JSPL where the gas is being used for making DRI, or it can be actually that gas can be replaced even by natural gas. But the second use is coal to chemicals. You know, the petrochemical plants like Reliance has many of them, or Indian petrochemicals, they are the ones who probably, in my view, should be more excited rather than steel and power industry. We need to have, it's my suggestion, that we need to have a real focus on R&D to how to use these coals in Indian conditions. So that emphasis will help us to get to probably commercialization and large usage. R&D is needed basically to prove that it can be done. Thank you.
Thank you for your observations and response. I'd just like to say on this, and I'll ask Thakurji to add to the technical part of it. The whole idea of creating a framework where there is a pilot being provided, that is the whole idea. That there are sufficient pilots around the world to suggest that there is huge potential. We know that there is a lot of coal in India. And because there is lack of enough commercial right now, therefore the whole idea of doing the pilot. And looking at that and also providing the encouragement, as you saw when Shubham gave his presentation, there is also a financial incentive that is being given even for the smaller R&D based product. So that's where we want to encourage, and that's the whole idea of a roadshow, to evince that interest. On the other aspect, when you say the steel and the power, yes, I mean, that's why, in fact, the idea of doing this roadshow was to reach out to various other industries on showing the potential that coal has to convert itself to chemical. Hitherto, we've been thinking of coal in a very limited space, as I said in my initial remarks also, that we've been thinking, calibrating coal for power. It's time that we thought of it differently. So thank you for your observation. But Thakurji, would you like to comment on the calorific value part?
Maybe later on, ma'am, we have from several questions from the.
I just wanted to answer the calorific, because it'll help everybody to understand that, and then we go one by one.
हेलो या नहीं हो रहा है? So far as yield is concerned, say we have G16 coal. Calorific value is 2200 kilo. G17 coal, calorific value 2200 kilocalorie. However, in case of syngas, if you go by, there are two processes. One is oxyblown, another is air blown. If you adopt oxyblown technology, definitely the calorific value rises and it goes up to even 3800 kilocalorie, something like that. And moreover, the quality of coal in India present is, say, the S percentage is around 25 to 45%. Rather, it is a blessing in disguise in our coal that when we go for underground coal gasification, see, 1/3 of the byproducts will remain underground. As therefore, the subsidence issues could be mitigated. So this is the benefit. We experiencing the one of the four hazards, that is the subsidence, that will be mitigated. Thank
And
you.
this is
Thank you.
A.K. Balian
Sir-
from the Coal Gasifiers Association. I must first compliment the Ministry of Coal for really bringing out wonderful policy for the coal gasification. And we see a good initiative to extend it to the underground coal gasification. We have been writing on several issues which the members from the industry have raised and debated with us. And many of them we find are really being part of the policy now. So thank you very much. But there are a few issues which I think are important from the industry point of view. Number one, when you define the project gasifier is not the project. It can function only when the essential utilities are there: power supply, oxygen supply, water supply. So the boundary condition of a project needs a review on that, and it should be up to when you have pure syngas available, because as per the certain parameters to use it in a cleaner form. So up to that should be considered as the project boundary. When it comes to commercial incentives, I think there are various incentives. Still, I think we need to debate on that. VGF is one thing which I feel for the underground coal gasification, it would be better to have higher degree of
Sir,
financial
kindly make it
assistance.
brief, please.
The issue on royalty reduction, issue on the waiver of the GST compensation cess for the underground projects, rebate on the upfront higher surface, revenue sharing, custom duty waiver for all equipment that are to be imported. This is a UCG is a combination of oil and gas sector and the mining sector. So there are unique equipment required. So many of them have to be imported on that. And so last point, which I feel is equally important as VGF, is some kind of a offtake guarantee of one product. Maybe not for a longer period, but maybe around 5 years period. May not be 100%. This thing may be 50% of the produce. I mean, this would give a lot of benefit and confidence to the investor.
Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you very much.
We'll move to the next question.
We are just taking that question, please. May I request everyone to kindly keep the questions very brief and stick to the point, please?
We appreciate the initiatives of the Ministry of Coal in last few years, especially when the everybody was saying the coal is written off, but we have seen a lot of dynamics getting changed in the coal, lot of interest, especially on the commercial coal block auction, as well as on the new technology, especially the syngas, thanks to the Ministry of Coal's incentive policy, as well as the new technology initiative like underground coal gasification. We really appreciate all these things, ma'am. And ma'am, considering the interest in the underground coal gasification, there is already a lot of interest. I just want to ask when the block can be launched, or what is the expected timeline to launch the blocks?
Good afternoon, ma'am. This
please
is Seiko. I'm a private equity firm from New York. We have been working for the last 1 year with the government of India to actually support for the transformation from a $5 trillion economy to $50 trillion economy. Roughly speaking, which is a transformation from 400 lakh crores to 4,000 lakh crores. We have been associated with the Economic Advisory Council to calculate the gross value add contributed by coals and mining sector, which is roughly about 9 lakh crores right now. So this sector is supposed to become 135 lakh crores by 2047. There is a complete mechanism of a new development finance corporation called NABFID, which is in place. We were speaking to the Department of Economic Affairs, who have mentioned that they wanted to support our investments with a lot of sovereign guarantees. A policy was issued in 2022 for sovereign guarantees as well. So now with this empowerment, the PSUs in your sector, especially those in coal sector, which have to raise around 3 lakh crores per year for investment purposes, they might not be expecting private sectors to invest it, but definitely supported with a PSU and a sovereign guarantee. We are willing to put that money. We are actually working with SBI Capital's team as well for some other sectors, some ministries as well. Just wanted to have more clarity if the sector is planning similar bonds. We would be willing to associate, and who would be the right people to support it. I had presented the full proposal for leadership for this sector to reach a gross value add of around 150 lakh crores by 2047. That was given to the last minister, Mr. Joshi, sir. So I would like some guidance on that so that we can proceed accordingly. Thank you so much.
I'm Dr. Dhawan from Alloy Steel Association, steel producers. I think this subject would be most important and appropriate for us, and I must thank Vicky and the panel today for having brought this issue. When Mr. Panda was mentioning about imports, I think met coal is just not available in the country, and that is a very high import content. And as we go through the presentations made today, perhaps coal gasification proposes and suggests an alternative which can provide both syngas and hydrogen, which is going to bring about, I'll say, transition and a revolution in steel making, because the low carbon emission is required. Now, we have a steel ministry, we have a coal ministry. The interests are common. Is there a roadmap made for replacing the met coal with gasification in bulk to bring in hydrogen and syngas? Thank you.
Maybe we can have a question from there. Yeah, yeah, we could just have a question from, yeah, of course, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vanessa Lacayo. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Novosensa. So we're building India's first indigenous dry coal beneficiation technology, which is a waterless solution and can be used as a precursor for gasification. My question is that being that our Indian coal is high ash content, this still relies, for coal gasification, relies us on import from other countries and blending. So how are we addressing that issue in India? And as many of you mentioned, China, they themselves do dry coal beneficiation for their coal. So I think it's an important factor that we look into as we move towards this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, can I point a blind spot?
Yes.
So I'm Varun Jindal.
Sir, kindly use the microphone and please keep it short.
So I'm founder of Dev Energy, and I've been associated with this whole process from last 4 years. And we are talking of learning from China, but the blind spot here is that we are talking of input, which you have taken care of, coal, money, viability gap funding, that is taken care of. But technology, we are considering that it is off the shelf and it is available. Category 3 was discussed and created because we wanted demonstration projects, so that when the large projects are being discussed, the financiers know that there is something which is running in the system. But what happened is that we are straight away jumping to category 1 and 2, and we have no project on ground which can be showcased as something which is running. And because of that, all the 7 projects which have been approved, they have stopped looking to China and they started looking to the branded available 1 or 2 gasifiers are running in the world. So my suggestion and request is to address this blind spot, and maybe, which was the spirit of the category 3, maybe PSUs can come up, or some sort of mechanism can be there, so that we put up those 6 plants and they become the bedrock of absorption of technology from China. That was the whole idea, ma'am.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Yeah, hi, good evening, ma'am. I'm Gaurav Sengupta from Adani. I have two questions. One is there are a couple of pilot projects that has been going on the underground coal gasification. So when can we expect some information or the conclusion of those studies? And second is related to building on Sir's point related to technology. Has there been any policy paper in making or a guideline sort of thing as to which technology to go for high ash Indian coal, and especially with respect to coal beneficiation and coal washing, and with respect to policy for discount on coal gasification for rejects and other middlings also. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you. Yes, the center.
Hi, I'm Rakesh Verma from Grip Global Singapore. Very small question, but maybe important, maybe technical. That in complete value chain of coal gasification and coal gases and complete usages of that, is there a development on greenhouse gases management? That's my question. Thank you.
Excuse me. Yeah, ma'am. Vineet from Lanza Tech, and the question which
Louder, please.
the previous gentleman asked, Mr. Verma asked, is that was the provision for CCU aspect in the coal gasification projects. As like we do have a technology, and thanks for mentioning that. Like we actually take the CO2 emissions, we can take that, or the CO-rich gases, and we can convert that into ethanol first. And ethanol is actually the building block for ethylene. You dehydrate that, you make ethylene, and from ethylene we can make polyester, PET, packaging bottle, and all that. And I have all those along with me, like which we are doing from other syngases across the world. So the gasification project, it won't only look at the CO2 part, and that won't be only from the perspective of decarbonization. It will actually be a value addition to CO2, and also the syngas, which of course is a very rich feed, as like Sir also mentioned, having CO and CO-rich gases.
Yeah, very good evening. I'm KK Mehrotra, ex-CMD Mekon. It's a very nice presentation by Mr. Ajitesh Kumar and Mr. Thakur. I have only small two questions, ma'am. When we are making this underground coal gasification, as mentioned in the presentation, it requires very robust safety features. So I think that will add to the capex cost over the capex. And second is that when we are considering the production cost of the syngas, we have to consider, because we are generating this coal gas at the source, but this coal gas, syngas, has to be transported to the consuming centers. So the transportation cost of this syngas has to be considered up to the consuming centers. Thank you very much.
Any more questions?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Lady at the back.
I'm Gaurav Verma from MN Dastur. Is the ministry thinking of making a single nodal agency under the commandership of Ministry of Coal, Steel, or MOPNG, so that my gas transportation issues, if are there, can be taken care of, and under provisions of government backed offtake for my syngas based products, so that mitigation of first mover risk can be addressed to an extent.
Excuse me. Please go ahead at back.
Hi, this is Roop from Crystalline Silica and Metals. My question is rather a curiosity, stemming from the presentation on the key enablers for UCG. So now, ma'am, that the simple formula for coal consumption has been finalized and the commercial mining 2020 order removed the restrictions on the end usage of coal. What do you think that whether the allottees who already have coal blocks, can they also go for the underground coal gasification? And if not, then what is the deterrence?
Excuse me, ma'am. Yeah. Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you. My name is Surinder Kalra. I belong to a company called MasterCube IoT LLP. We have been providing IT solutions in blockchain, artificial intelligence, and IoT.
for the mining sector. Now, my question is, I don't have a proper question in the sense that what I'm coming from is that what gentleman Mr. Barendra said was that there is an interministerial team also being formed, and there is what I could hear was that there's nobody from the Ministry of Environment. Any project which is coming up, like Subrata said, that this is a dirty product, coal, and somebody said that okay, it's something which thought it is going out of the phasing out, and UK has already called RIP for it. Now the thing is that I really puts hats off to you, Rupendraji, that the thing which has been called dirty or RIP in other countries, you are trying to make something sense out of it. I would request that let us say that when we are making sense out of it, how much emissions we are going to reduce under Article 6.2 or 6.4, how much ITMO we are going to get out of the whole thing, and then how much is that we are talking about VGF and other things that can really help us in getting a lot of funds from the ITP also. That is my request. We should have any project which comes up, the bottom line should be how much gas emissions are getting reduced. The fund and everything, that is all available. There is an American fund available, there are some German funds that are available, all those are available. Only thing is that how do we tap them is a different issue. They need a roadmap. But how much emissions we are going to reduce? The gentleman, he gave the from SBI Capital Market, he says he wants a mortgage. For such projects, I would request that it is not, please come out of that old phobia of mortgage financing. Please come out of that Buttonwood project, Buttonwood business model
Thank
of
you.
bank financing.
We have to keep that
And
brief.
go
Thank you so
into
much.
how much impact is it going to give to the economy, how much benefit is it going to give to the economy.
Thank you, sir.
Please come into that project mode.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, please go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm Sanjay from TKIL, formerly Thyssen Group. We have 70 years EPC experience, but when we are coming with the surface gas project, newly coming in West Bengal as a, the good thing is that the technology partner has been decided. But when we are talking to the technology partner from China or across the world, they are asking for something new. They are saying is that it's a big project, engineering cost to be given as a payment terms. Again, they are same thing, they are talking about the payment terms. We are handling BHEL, we are handling oil, gas, every big Navratna company. But they are not secured about the payment terms available in India for the all Navaratna company. Ma'am, everything is set, but whenever we are going to bid, so they are shaky in coming out of these payment terms, and the recovery part is there. Thank you.
Any more observations or any more thoughts? Otherwise, I'm going to request my colleague Mr. Jha to address a few points.
Thank you, ma'am. And in fact, I would take the lighter part, and the difficult ones I would leave for Rupinder madam. One very important thing which has been raised is that we have got high ash coal, and we don't have, a clear-cut project running anywhere in the world. I mean, this is not something that is unnatural. We should know that this high ash coal is there only in our country. I mean, as far as the good quantum of coal, any country that produces a huge quantum, it's only our country which has got high ash coal. So why should, say, for example, China or US or any other country have a project which is based on high ash coal? That is not possible. So that, I mean, we should get out of that syndrome that high ash coal is a difficult one to handle. Let me give you a few examples. We do have pilots. I'm not getting to pilots. There is a project in North Dakota of the US where they run at about 30%. That is one. A lot of Chinese companies, maybe Zhongxi, I don't recollect their names, they claim that they can gasify coal at about maybe 37%, 38% of ash. BHEL has done pilots, and in fact, we have got a JV of BHEL and Coal India, where they are setting up a project which would have about 40-45% of ash. So I would say that yes, I mean, had there been a pilot on this, it would have been much more useful. But we shouldn't be scared that since there is no pilot, it cannot happen. It has happened in other parts of the world. They have scaled up, and in fact, we can do it. So I mean that part should be taken care of, and maybe a project, once the project of BHEL and CIL goes through, we should have a good thing for us to see. One issue was raised about the category 3 projects that we should have had. It was only for pilots. I mean, we want that pilot to take place even now. Category 3 projects are open. Even, I mean, they were open now, they would be open even in the future, but somebody has to come up. Maybe the industry feels that pilot is not required. It's possible. So let's not get into that. Unless a pilot is there, the final scheme may not, or final project may not take place. So these two were important, which I thought that I mean I should dwell on this more. One suggestion was on steel DRI. So I think it's good that I mean we should do it. Jindal is already doing it. They do have a patented technology. We can use that, or maybe there are other technologies in other parts of the world that can be used. Suggestions were about royalty, GST, BCD waiver, offtake guarantees. We can have a discussion on that. Some issue was raised about I mean including cost of transportation in syngas. Again, we can look at that. So PSUs should take a lead. One suggestion came up on that. So in fact, there are 3 projects under PSUs, and one is already ongoing in Talcher. So I can say there are 4 big projects which would be under PSUs. So PSUs are taking the lead, and I think it's not a very difficult thing to I mean follow that. We do have projects in the pipeline, and the ministry as well as the companies, they are pretty hopeful that we'll get it through. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Sanoj. Thakurji, would you like to come in on some of the technical points? Ladies should have the last word always, so I'll have the last one.
Getting regarding the one part I missed during my presentation regarding the market and the offtake guarantee. Say 90% of the chemicals we are importing. So we can replace the import substitution that can be done. And you know, you will be surprised that methanol, the global demand is around 90 million ton per annum. Acetic acid, that is 17 million ton per annum. Ammonia, 183 million ton per annum. And hydrogen, worldwide, its requirement, demand 95 million ton. Cost of methanol is 300 US dollar per ton, and annual size of business in US dollar is $27 billion. So far as acetic acid is concerned, 17 million ton is the demand, and 500 US dollar is the rate, and 8.5 billion dollar US dollar is the market value. That is the business around the world इसका होता है. Ammonia is 183 million ton requirement is there, 500 is the rate, and 91.5 billion US dollar is the size of business. Hydrogen, it is 2000 US dollar per ton is the rate, and 190 billion US dollar is the market. And we are importing all these things, 90% of that. So market is in India. So this is the one area we can substitute the import. Substitution of import is possible. So far as technology is concerned, already with high as coal, sir has already mentioned, JSPL is doing. They are also using byproduct in a different, making different chemicals. Apart from that, BHEL has already tested, Thermex has already tested, Simphar already done. So now we have, time has come to scale up. Apart from that, already 600 crore is already earmarked for that. Somebody should come up and get that amount of 100 crore each project. That is open even now, as this has been already mentioned. Apart from that, almost 5-6 demonstration projects with high S coal has been done. Regarding emission in UCG, you know, as it has been defined that UCG is a partial combustion process. Once it is partial combustion process, no CO2 is formed. As per literature, there is a reduction of about 30% CO2 in the overall conditions. Apart from that, whatever CO2 is being produced or CO is being produced, it is not going to be flared up. As Mr. Vineet has told, that you can capture CO2 and CO, and that cloth can be prepared. I think you have brought one cloth now. Please show that has been prepared with the CO2 and CO. If it is available with you, this is the cloth. This has been prepared by using the byproducts of syngas. This is the this shoe has been prepared with CO2 and CO. So now this is the past. We should not think for the sequestration. We should think for the CO2 for utilization. So now it is totally, what we can say, it is totally green. So okay. Okay, this is a great thing and great achievement. There are few plants in the world, so this can be taken up. So far as greening is concerned, it is mitigated. Another question was, MOEF was not in a team. See, I have made a presentation before MOEF, and already I have highlighted what are the risks associated with the UCG. All are mitigatable. That's all are doable. We can mitigate all the hazards or risk which is associated with the UCG. They are agreeing. Shortly, we can have some good news from the MOEF side also. Since basic issue is the groundwater contamination. That's why that central ground board persons were kept, because they need baseline data generated. Based on that, they give the permission. And CPWD, this one ground board was, that is onboarded. DGMS is there, CCO is there. So they are on the loop. We have made presentation before the committee, MOEFCC, EIA committee, before the EIA committee. So they are convinced. And regarding other questions like usage of pipelining of the syngas, the 7 projects has been allocated. Out of that, 2 are making syngas and natural gases, synthetic natural gases. BPCL and GAIL are associated with Coal India Limited as a joint venture company they have formed. So that is also there. They will be utilizing the synthetic natural gas in their they will be using in their pipelines. Thank you.
Thank you, Thakurji. That was so. I hope some of his enthusiasm has passed through all of you. Clearly, you can see that there is a lot of optimism on our side. To round off a few things that got mentioned, and also to add a little more clarity to all the presentations, I'll just take a quick 5 minutes. On the GST compensation cess, I think GST story is already behind us in terms of the compensation. It's already been factored in. So that's not there. But in terms of royalties, all that is already in the framework. Customs duty for technology, great suggestion. We would love to take it up with our line ministries in the DOR, because we understand that for any project to succeed, bottom lines definitely matter. So we would love to look at that. In terms of MOEF and its role, and also looking at green credits, etc., I think these are some really valuable suggestions that have come. And I'm very happy to also share with you that these are the nascent thoughts that we also have in the ministry. And listening to your observations and comments only adds to our understanding that that's the way forward. So we would be working on green credit lines, also looking at how we could create negative impact that mining as a whole has always had. It's not just about gasification, and how we as a civilization, as a country, can look forward to doing mining with conscience and with a lot more responsibility. So thank you for that. In terms of the regulatory costs, now that is something that got mentioned in a different manner, that there is a lot of regulatory cost. Now, let's understand that any business that has to happen anywhere in the world in a civilized society, that is to be mandated and run by law needs to have regulations. It's not just about gasification. If you look at currently mining, and I'm just restricting myself to coal mining, there are 39 different clearances that all of you go through. Some are major, some are minor. If you go to biomedical waste, for example, there are regulations around that. If you go to textile industry, there are regulations around that. So any and every industry that has to work must work in the framework of regulation. So I don't think per se that should be our worry. Our concern as a government, and I think your concern as industry, should be that the framework should be robust. It should be self-explanatory. It should be transparent. It should be achievable, attainable, so that you can all actually factor that in when you factor in your project plans. And I must add, and I've said that earlier also, not only must we have a framework, but it's our responsibility to make sure that at the implementation stage, all that actually works. If we can make that happen, clearly you can see the potential that gasification has in the country. In the presentation that was made, we've already made a point, and a strong one for India, that more than 40% of our coal reserves are deep seated. They're below 300 meters. And we must collectively get together to use them for the benefit of the nation. And that brings me back also to another point that some of you raised about the role of the PSUs. Of course, they have a role. And as Sanojji already pointed out, there are projects already being done by PSUs, but we strongly ask the private sector to step up their interest in the area also. Because nations are not to be built by any one sector. Nations are to be built by all of us. And if we have to grow as a country, and if we really want to see ourselves as the country of the world, then this is our opportunity. And that also therefore adds to the other aspect, that if we are going to continue to keep waiting for somebody else to do it, and I'm only going to ride on the work done by somebody else, then that somebody else is going to run away with success too. So I think it's time for all of us to wear our thinking caps. We in the government are working with all of you to create those frameworks. Please make your suggestions for frameworks to be robust so that we can actually get it quick and going. And therefore, I want to answer the other question that somebody asked was, when do you think the blocks can go out in the market? Very active work in progress. We'd be very happy to bring them out ASAP, because we don't want to lose time. But at the same time, yes, we do understand our responsibility when we are bringing out something new for all of us to undertake as a nation. The process has to have very high process integrity. It also has to have norms which are, as I mentioned, attainable. We don't want to create a framework which is so rigid that all of you find it difficult to actually put it to use. But very soon, yes, you should have the blocks out there. And in terms of capitals, I'm glad our friends from New York are already looking at India as an opportunity to invest in. It's a sector that is open to investment. Shubham read out in his presentation the FDI norms that play out. So it's a sector that has no restrictions as long as you follow the laws of the land. And in terms of communication, both on finance, which a lot of you have pointed out that finance is really not a problem, and also on the technology bit, I'd like to assure all of you that just like in any other commercial transaction, reaching out to the right commercial and technology partners is part of the due diligence that any business is expected to do, whether it's a PSU or whether it's a private sector setup. We expect you to do that. However, at any point, if you feel that you need our dialogue, if you need our intervention, we'd be very happy to create that platform for dialogue. I was in the World Mining Congress last week in Indonesia, and I'm very happy to share that there was so much interest being evinced from different countries, looking at India as a future, in looking at India as a place to invest in. So people are ready with technology. People are more than happy to work with us. Therefore, I don't think any of us should carry any of the hangover of the past, that the world is going to have any kind of an apprehensive attitude, let me say. India is really looking up. And the kind of interest that I saw in the world, and I'm glad somebody else pointed out that it's time that all of us did not just get carried away with some propaganda that suits somebody else, but we need to work to make sure that our nation is really up there. And coal is providing you an opportunity We request all of you to reach out to us for more suggestions. A lot of good suggestions on, especially on green credit and especially on how to make frameworks have come today. We'll factor them in. We will have more dialogue with all of you. But if you need us to do more, we are there with you. That's the last point I want to say. Thank you very much for your interest and look forward to working together on this very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, honorable dignitaries on the dais. Thank you for that wonderful and very insightful and comprehensive discussion. Thank you, audience, for participating so well. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we have reached to the concluding moment of the session. And may I request Mentor Fiki Coal and Power Committees, Shri Prabir Niyogi, to kindly give the concluding remarks and also propose the vote of thanks.
As we have come to the end of the session, ma'am, you ended with a clarion call. Clarion call to the industry to step up gas. And in this case, I guess it's gasified coal. So I'll just pick up from there. So it's my pleasure and privilege to propose the customary vote of thanks. Mrs. Srimati Rupinder Bradji, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Coal. Sri Shanaj Kumar Jha, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Coal. Sri Ajitesh Kumar, Director, Ministry of Coal. Sri Birendra Kumar Thakur, Ministry of Coal. Mr. Subrakant Panda, Past President FICCI. Dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, the CMDs of coal companies who are present here, esteemed participants, and my dear friends. It's a very good evening indeed, and we had started with the national anthem, and that's basically the spirit that has flown through the entire road show. It's not a conference, neither a seminar. It's a road show where basically we want the industry to step up gas, even at the cost of reputation. Srimati Brar has been quite exciting, in her presentation. She has laid down the framework. She has basically tried to articulate the roadmap for us to all go through the process of coal gasification. And she has also emphasized that why India must follow this direction, because after all, India is indeed different from the rest, and that we have proved to the rest of the world. Sri Shanoj Jha has also been, quite emphatic in saying that, well, there was a suggestion that China is gasifying 350 million tons, and he says maybe, China is doing double that amount. So what we are doing at present is just not enough. So we have to somewhere make a start. What is very interesting is that, it's a policy direction which has come from Ministry of Coal, but so much of work has gone behind, so much of insight has already been developed, and so much of research has been done into the subject. And that is what we got to know from the presentations made by both the directors, Mr. Ajitesh Kumar as well as Mr. Birendra Jha. Mr. Kumar was very clear that, these are the phases, these are the stages, this is the process through which one has to go through, and this is how we are making it easy, life easy for the participants, and there is even an exit clause. So there is a safeguard clause. And Mr. Thakur, of course, was highly technical. In fact, we got to know a lot many things about coal gasification, what we were not aware about previously. See, what is very striking is that in 2021, the good thing about today's roadshow is that, the process started in 2021 with National Coal Gasification Mission. And then and there, the roadmap was left out that it has to be 100 million tons of coal gasification by 2030, backed by 8,700 crores of incentives. How the process involved that initially it was 20% revenue share for gasified coal to be, if gasified coal is 10% of coal production in commercial mining, but the process involved and the 20% was jacked up to 50%. So that's how the ministry has been so proactive. But one thing, which struck me, that, there has been an institutional design also, that all coal companies have been asked to assign a nodal officer. There was some talk of, nodal officer being appointed, but each coal company has been asked to appoint a nodal officer so as to draw an action plan, and which will culminate in 10% of the coal production to be gasified. Now, we are already doing 1 billion tons. So 10% of that is 100 million tons. And if the target is 100 million tons by 2030, and if we want to add the share of commercial mining, we might just cross the bridge much ahead. So that's the kind of spirit, that's the kind of direction which our policymakers have made. And this is where I want to compliment Srimati Brar and his team and her team, and also all those who have been around to make this, this roadshow so much of a success. And the number of questions, in fact, that have come up has very clearly shown the kind of interest that has been generated. The second thing that has struck me is, during the course of the discussion, that, it's a whole of government approach. Now, firstly, it start with a policy direction. There was a national coal gasification mission. So the direction was laid out. Now, gasified coal can have so many components. It's a fuel gas, so that can get into power generation. It can be feedstock for industry, but it also a conversion fuel, so which can have so many applications in industry, whether it's chemical, fertilizers, petrochemicals, oil and gas. And all these industries, if you look back, they form part of our core sector. And our core sector contributes about 40% to the IIP, which again contributes 20% to the GDP. So, the coal gasification process, if it is followed in right earnest, that is what I suppose the government is focused at, will eventually have this corollary effect, the knockdown effect of increasing the GDP. That's one. Number two, you see, it's also a facilitator of our energy transition. And I do recall the Honorable Minister, having said that, there was some talk about carbon capture and storage, that CCUS will be integrated into the coal gasification and industrial hub. So when we talk of Hydrogen Valley, we draw a parallel. So, this underground coal gasification is finally going to facilitate our energy transition and zero carbon pathway by 2070. So that's the kind of background we have today. And we have talked about incentives, fine, but eventually the task is going to be quite onerous, because while we have some kind of an incentive scheme in operation and 7 projects have been already bid out, the ballpark figure is that for basically a 1 million ton of methanol production, the ballpark figure of investment in coal gasified project is about $2 billion. So that's a kind of disconnect we have. Obviously, financial incentives, the fiscal regime will have to be engineered. I'm sure the Ministry of Coal will be looking into this. From our side, from FICCI's side, what we would like to do, depending on the progress that we have made in Mumbai as well as in Delhi, we'll try to do a synthesis paper, summarize the discussions, do some conclusions, and then get into some serious stakeholder discussions, if necessary, at a more informal level. So again, from FICCI's side, I would like to thank all participants who have participated with lots of enthusiasm for the deliberations. We'll look forward on building today's dialogue to translate ideas into tangible outcomes and actions. And again, thank the additional secretaries, both of whom are present here, and the ministry for the vision, guidance, and the direction they have given to us as a community, as an industry. And we do, promise that we would reciprocate the kind of enthusiasm you have shown by your own actions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for those wonderful concluding remarks and also proposing the vote of thanks. On behalf of the organizing team members, we'd like to thank our honorable dignitaries and wish to present a memento. And may I request Shri Shubhrukant Pandaji to kindly present a memento to Additional Secretary Srimati Rupendra Barar and thank her. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts with us and guiding us with your words. May I request Mr. Panda to now present a memento to Additional Secretary Shri Sanoj Kumar Jha and thank him. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Thank you for sparing your valuable time. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude today's deliberation. Thank you so much, each one of you, for joining us for this roadshow on coal gasification, surface and underground technologies. We quickly request the head table to kindly give us a photo opportunity. Just a moment to capture this in our lenses. Of course, this stays in our memories, the amount of discussion, wonderful interactions that we have had. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we thank you all for participating so well, and we now request you to kindly join us for a networking tea, which has been served right outside the hall. Please take care of yourself. I'm Sushmita signing off from the podium. Namaskar, and please do not forget to put your phones back to its ringing mode. Thank you.